Good afternoon from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's the 29th of June 2024 and it's 1:04 p.m. Looks like we're about to get some rain and I've left Charlie outside, so I might have to make a mad dash and bring her in, but I'll just wait. I'll wait and see what the weather does. It might just be clouding over like it did yesterday. So I went dancing last night. As you can tell, I've still got all my beads and feather and some of my regalia on, and I had a wonderful time dancing. Yeah, it got a little bit weird at the end of the night though, because you kind of have to laugh. So I left the club and I walked to my car, and as I approached my car, I see a massive, great big white van in front of my car, and I thought, what the fuck is that? And there was someone kind of sitting in it. I didn't really look into it, but I thought, that's like a cop waiting to catch people drink driving, am I right? It was like an unmarked van, with just a big, massive white van, but I thought, something doesn't look right with that picture. Anyway, you kind of have to laugh because my friend Lynn, who's overprotective and mothers me to the point of almost smothering. Thank you, Lynn. I know you love me, but this time your intuition, yeah, again, was on point. So I'm grateful for the mothering, although sometimes I almost want to kill you. But no, last night, the proof is in the pudding again, Mama Lynn. So I see this van, and as I go past it, I could see all the cameras set up inside it. So I don't know if it was a speed trap or a drink driving thing. I mean, the drink driving thing, they usually pull you over and breathalyze. But anyway, there was just something wrong with that picture. I didn't know what he was doing. And he's just, because I looked smoking hot last night, if I say so myself. I had a beautiful lacy dress on that with my patterned tights, and I wore it with my cowboy boots, and I had my top hat on, and as you can see, all my beads, and I had my nice breastplate pendant I made myself with all the little rock crystals and the little unicorn hanging off it, and then I had my crystal necklaces, and then I had my underbust, and on top of that I threw on my Turkish kind of belly dancing belt that I don't wear very often, but I must have lost a little bit of weight because a few weeks ago I tried it on and it wouldn't fit. But that was the night I went out wearing my leopard, my animal print, like woolen top with skirt, and I think it was too bulky with all the underbust and everything. I couldn't do it up, but this time I got it on, right? Am I right? I was determined. Fuck, I looked good. If I was a man, I would have been like, baby girl, let's go. But anyway, I'm not dressing for their benefit. I'm dressing for mine, making myself feel gorgeous and desirable and a vibrant woman again. It's time. It's time I renovated all my sensuality and sexuality. But here's the funny thing, still not doing anything with it, even though there was a man checking me out at the end of the night at the Brooklyn stand, and I was well aware he was checking me out, and I was studiously ignoring him, and then he sort of circled around me and stood on this side, and then I sort of look at him, and then he was kind of waiting for me when I left the club, but I was chatting to the lovely bartender Erin, and to his credit, he didn't try and approach me, or follow me, which I was glad of, actually. So, but just someone just noticing me and watching and, checking out what I'm about, I guess. I don't know. It's all very weird. But anyway, I'm not looking for random men in the night. I'm not interested in hookups or casual things. I'm wanting a true and great love. I guess I'm not going to get one of those unless I do the occasional hookup and the frottering, am I right? So I'm hanging by a thread, teetering in the balance between life and death and sex and celibacy, as I have always done. You kind of, it's kind of getting a bit comical. Like I even have to laugh at myself. And yeah, so yeah, yeah, it's all a bit delightful. But anyway, so my friend in the band, who, as I say, we like to wind each other up, and I don't think he's, all that serious. He just likes to stir me up, He'd he'd kind of studiously ignored me most of the night, and I thought, oh, that's interesting, but that's okay. I'm not there just because they're my friends and I enjoy their music. I'm also there for my purposes, which is to go out, dance wildly, have a good time, go home safe and exhausted, and build up my energy for the following week. Am I right? So, but anyway, he was so cute. The song, I think it's a Screaming Jets song. The line when it says, "Are you going to be my girl?" He turned and mouthed it to me. This was at the end of the night when he's probably overly tired and exhausted and on adrenaline. And I was looking pretty cute last night, if I say so myself. So there was this moment where we just stared at each other. He's mouthing, "Are you going to be my girl?" And I'm just staring like this. Because if he wasn't married, I would have been his woman a long, long time ago, people. But I don't say that to him. Number one, I'm not desperate. Number two, I'm not invading on anyone's turf. Number three, if a man's serious about you, he doesn't play games. So there is that. I don't think he's intentionally trying to play a game. I think he just, in that moment, felt like mouthing to me, "Are you going to be my girl?" But anyway, the delightful thing was the security guard was watching my eyes, because I'm like, I'm right across the room, because I was avoiding these people that had been cramping my mojo for like over an hour and a half, and they were just grinding my gears. So I actually moved away. I went out, smoked a cigar, which I very rarely smoke, but I bought cigars a couple of weeks ago for my breakdown. When I have my breakdowns, I like to smoke Wee Willem cigars. I'm not sure why. It's but anyway, I'm not having a breakdown anymore, by the way. I'm over it, but I just thought I'll go outside and I'll smoke my cigar and I'll just chill the fuck out and I'll just get away from people in the club. And then when I came in, I didn't go back to my usual position because I didn't really like those people crowding me. So I moved away, and yeah, I was standing up the back of the club, and the security guards were watching because they know it's not my usual thing to move away from that table in that area, out of my comfort zone. I thought, no, it won't hurt for me to be out of my comfort zone. And anyway, it was so sweet when my friend mouthed to me, "Are you gonna be my girl?" Well, I am his girl. We're friends. We are friends. So and I'm very fond of him, and it's kind of a tragedy that I can't take it further. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna stifle and stymie all my sensuality, sexuality. So here's the thing. I've gone round in a little bit of a segue, but here's the thing what I wanted to tell you. So I leave the club and I chat to Erin, and I mark that reasonably shy, nice looking, looked Afghani, to be honest. Man was still checking me out, and oh yeah, whatever. If he follows me, there's going to be trouble because I'm highly, from dancing all night, I'm highly, kind of innovated, and it won't start. They won't start me, hopefully, because I look pretty wild and free, which is how I like to present myself, because I am wild and free. Wild in the sense of, I walk my own walk, and I talk my own talk, and I dance my own dance, and I remain alone for safety purposes most of the time. So anyway, so I get to my car, as I said, and there's this massive van, as I mentioned, with a cop sitting in the middle of it, and I'm like, what the fuck? But I had a little bit more alcohol consumption last night than I normally do, because when I arrived at the club, the beautiful Erin said to me, this was earlier in the night, I got there about 10 p.m. She said, the usual. I said, yes, please, Jack Daniels and Coke. She goes, would you like a double? I said, looked at her, I went, why the fuck not? I don't normally drink doubles. I tell you what, it hit the spot, that double Jack Daniels. I should do that more often. It's got more flavour than when you just have a single. But bear in mind, it's double shot of Jack Daniels in it. So I had that, and I thanked her very much, and I had that. It was delicious. And I was sipping on that, and then, usually I try to drink one drink an hour to pace out because I have to drive home. So after a while I went and got another drink, just a single shot. And then a bit later in the night I got another Jack Daniels, again just my normal single shot. So I had the equivalent of 5 drinks, right? But I did start dancing earlier, so it fades out usually. Sweat it out or I dance it out. So I should have technically been fine because I'm usually fine. But Lynn had got me all paranoid about insisting that I have a breathalyzer in my car because she's so overly anxious and worries that I'll be over the limit and I'll get done and lose my license, right? And I went, Lynn, that's never happened in all the years of dancing because I don't drink to excess. And I dance it out, sweat it out, and I'd also drink water. I had, big glass of ice water as well. I said, I won't be over the limit, but because she put the seed into my mind, because quite frankly, my friend is highly psychic and must have already perceived this event happening. And there was a fucking massive van with a cop in it. I hate cops. I'm not a criminal. I've never done anything illegal. I'm not, too bogus DVOs put on me by psychopaths covering their own asses, by the way. But I mean, apart from that, I haven't got any criminal history. I'm not a criminal. I'm a decent, honourable woman, believe it or not, underneath all my wild ways. But I thought, fuck it, what if Lynn's prophecy that she saw me needing this breathalyzer is correct, and tonight of all nights with a cop sitting right next to my car, I'm over the fucking limit. That'd be just awful. And then, of course, I'd jump in and drive the car and drive off and he'd collar me, right? Probably wouldn't have, because he wouldn't have expected me to be over the limit. But anyway, I got paranoid. So very calmly and coolly, like a queen had all my regalia. Oh, fuck, it was hilarious. I sit in the passenger seat to let him know I've got no intention of driving, by the way. And he's probably watching all this going down from within his vehicle because bored. Was on his own too, which is unusual. So I'm fumbling in my glove compartment to get this brand new breathalyzer. I hadn't even taken it out of the packaging yet. Out. So I bring it out and I see it's got 4 little mouth nozzles and it already had one on it. And so I'm thinking, oh yeah. So I go to turn it on. I didn't realise, fuck my life, I should have checked it out before I stowed it in my car, am I right? It needed 2 AAA batteries, which I don't carry batteries in my car. One does not expect to need those kind of batteries anyway. I was like, what the fuck? So I was so annoyed. So then I had to put everything away in the glove compartment, get out of the car, walk past the cop, walk to the pedestrian crossing, which I had to wait forever for the lights to change. This whole time, this man's perving on me, by the way. I don't know how I know he was perving on me, but I figure bored man in a uniform sitting there trying to get suckers, just watching me wait for the crossing. So I'm studiously ignoring this humanoid. So I get across the road and I'm walking down, I don't know what the name of it, the main street. And I go to the first 7-Eleven and the young man works there, has seen me before. And I said to him, crazy question, but do you sell AAA Batteries, I said. There's a cop sitting next to my car and I need to breathalyze myself, and my girlfriend's just bought me this breathalyzer, which, by the way, I thought was fucking weird at the time. No. Once again, her angels are right on point, making sure that I'm protected, am I right? So she'll laugh when she hears this. She would, because she's just so tuned in. Love you, Lynn. So anyway, the guy goes, he looks up at his batteries behind the counter or whatever, and he goes, "Oh no, I don't. I've only got the normal double A's." And I was like, "Oh, fuck, what am I gonna do?" Like I could technically get in the car and drive because I don't think I'm over the limit, but with a cop breathing down my neck, I don't want to take the chance of being, wrong. And I didn't feel drunk either at all, but I just thought, I just don't want to be in that situation. So the guy in the 7-Eleven says, "Look, if you walk straight down towards Creek Road or straight down Adelaide Street, and you turn left," it turned out I needed to turn right. But anyway, he goes, "If you walk straight down there, there's another 7-Eleven, and they may have the batteries you need." I'm thinking I could be walking around this fucking city all night. But then I thought, well, by the time I've walked and done all that, any residual alcohol will hopefully be gone and I'll just drive anyway. Fuck it. So, but anyway, honestly, it was weird that I even worried about that, because I always drink 4 drinks a night when I'm out and I've never been over the limit. Why worry about that now, right? But the germinating seed had been planted in my mind, like a windmill in my mind, going round and round and round. So anyway, as I'm walking down Adelaide Street, I see in the distance, about 30-40 metres in front of me, my friends from Alter Egos, Scott and Luke, walking along. And I thought, oh, for fuck's sake, they're going to think that I'm stalking them because they knew I left earlier, and they will wonder why I've come back and I'm walking down the road. But I was walking on the opposite side of the road. But even so, I thought, oh, how fucking awkward is that? But then it gets even weirder. So Alex and Stacey are walking up the street. I know them from dancing with them at the Brooklyn Standard. And they were quite under the weather, the two of them. And I don't know if they'd had a fight or what their fucking deal was. But as Alex approaches me, I light up because I really like him. I've been friends in the club for a long time. They haven't been to the Brooklyn Standard for a while. Anyway, I went, "Oh, hi, how you going?" "Good." And he just marched ahead. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So then as I approached Stacey, who was walking a few metres behind him, she was really, really drunk. I said, "How are you going?" She goes, "Oh, yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm fine, thank you." And I'm like, all right, well, obviously they're not interested in engaging with me, and for whatever reason. So, all right, don't take offence at these things, because at the end of the night, everyone's under the weather usually, right? And except for me, because I know I have to drive home. Miss Goody Goody Two Shoes, but I have to keep myself safe when I'm out on my wild nights out, by the way. It's the other reason I don't get drunk or lose control. But I thought, just in case I'm a little bit over the limit, I better go and put this fucking breathalyzing thingy that Lynn bought me to use. Which, by the way, it says on the packaging that there's no guarantee that it's accurate. So I'm kind of laughing at myself about the whole thing, right? Anyway, Scott and, because there was no one else on the street, and it's like, after 2:30 in the morning, some around about that time, 3ish, they would have heard my voice calling out to Alex. And I'm studiously ignoring them, still walking straight ahead because I'm focused on getting to this, trying to find this other 7-Eleven. And here's the delightful thing. They really are cute, the two of them. So I'm still walking. They've gotten into their vehicle and they're driving, on that side of the road. And they stop in the middle of the road and Scott goes, "Oi," or something like that. And I look, and there's just this look that passes between us because I could see he's thinking, why is she roaming around the fucking street, in the middle of the night in our direction? I knew he would be thinking that I'd followed them. So to deflect, I call out, I said, it was actually comical. Like even he thought it was funny too. Luke just started laughing. So I look at them both sitting in their vehicle in the middle of the road, stopped in the middle of the road, no cars around. And I went, what are you doing? I said, cruising the streets of Brisbane at 3:00 in the morning. And Scott just looks at me because he could ask me the same question, right? And he goes, I'm trying not to act suspicious, which was a little bit of a dig at me, in other words, saying, it's suspicious what's going on. And I'm like, yep, volley, the volleyball's bouncing back and forwards towards us. Luke's laughing so much. He's cute. They're both so cute. I adore them all. I adore all three of them. Oh my God, we stir each other up so much. So anyway, so I'm looking at him on the answer, try not to act suspicious. So I look at him, all school marmish, in my top hat, and my lovely bag I'm wearing now, and I'm feeling all fucking fatale. So I look at him and I go, I'm not stalking you, Scott. And he's just like, Luke's just about crying. I said, I've been to my car and there's a cop parked right next to my car, like, hoping to catch drunk drivers. And I said, my girlfriend's bought me a breathalyzer, and I said, I went to use it so that I could be sure that I'm okay to drive home. I said, there's no fucking batteries. I said, so like a motherfucker, I'm having to walk around trying to find a 7-Eleven that sells AAA batteries at 3:00 in the morning. And he looks at me and he goes, oh, okay. So I walked to the crossing to go to cross in front of their vehicle because the guy in the other 7-Eleven said it's on the left. And Scott sees that I'm going to go to the left and he says, oh, by the way, Tanya, you got to turn right. It's just up the road, up that way a little bit. And I went, oh, good to know, Scott. Thanks for that. Bye. And he calls out, see you soon, because he sees me, when I go dancing every fortnight usually, or sometimes weekly if I go to the other gig, right? It's been weekly the last 3 weeks, so it kind of probably does feel a bit like I'm stalking him. But, as I say, we're friends and I enjoy their music and it's actually really, really quite harmless. So, as I said, it wouldn't be quite so harmless if he wasn't fucking married, but there is that. But anyway, we love each other. Let me just put it that way. We're friends and we love each other, and I'm contented with that much. I haven't had much of good, kind sweetness in my life from, men historically, and apart from my friend Jared, of course, and my psychiatrist, and, the two Peters, my friend Lynn's husband and Peter down the road. And mind you, he used to fucking roll me up something chronic to the point of insanity. I had to tell him, this is not how you get to be in my life, rolling me up, by the way, and he toned it down. But anyway, we're still friends, astonishingly. That was another very unusual friendship. But anyway, yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, so I've had very few decent, loving, honouring, but delightful and sweet, gorgeous men in my life. Don't mention the few fucking love affairs I had that were life-threatening and dangerous, right? It's another reason why I am the way I am today. I'm always in self-warrior goddess, just on the edge of fucking anarchy and chaos, on the edge of that I might have to protect myself. So, especially at 3:00 in the morning when I'm trying to find batteries for a breathalyzer, trying to protect myself. So anyway, so Scott and Luke drive off, and they're probably still laughing about it. Me being all cool, going, "What are you doing? What are you doing cruising?" I mean, it was comical. So anyway, I go to I found the 7-Eleven on the right hand side of the road as he suggested, which was good actually, because I would have gone left, not found the 7-Eleven, had a fucking panic attack about being lied to by the other 7-Eleven who meant well but just put me in the wrong direction. And I don't know what I would have done. I guess I would have just chilled the fuck out and gone back to the car and waited out the cop, or drove off thinking, if I can walk that far and all that way back, I'm fine, you know. So here's the weird thing. It gets even weirder, people of Earth. Sometimes when the weirdness starts, you've just got to ride that fucking wave like a surfer on a surfboard, right? By the way, I never learnt to surf, but I'm surfing life 101 pretty fucking well these days. Oh, baby, baby, babies, if I could ride that fucking wave, that tsunami wave, and ride it to the ultimate, destination, who knows where I'd land up. I could be anywhere. I could be anyone's. Not just anyone, but the ones, right? Oh, dear goddess. Oh, it's sweet. It's sweet how pathetic I am sometimes, but I'm cool while I'm being pathetic. So anyway, Mama T's like cruising with her homies down the street, and she gets to the 7-Eleven, and of course they lock it at night. They keep the doors locked. So I'm standing there, beep, going out of my mind, waiting for the fucking doors to open. And the little Asian dude's kind of laughing because the way I'm standing, it's like, I just want to fucking get in the shop. Anyway, he was a nice young man. They're always very nice, you know. I have to deal with all the drunks at the end of the night, and they have to be nice. So I look at him, I said, "Oh, look, I've just tried the other 7-Eleven up the street and they don't have any, but this is going to seem really weird, but I need AAA batteries for a little breathalyzing gadget my girlfriend bought me, because there's a cop stalking me sitting right next to my car, and I'm not happy about it, but I want to make 100% sure I'm in the clear, right?" And the guy's like laughing. I went, yep, I hate cops, so I got to beat them at their own game. And he's like, I don't actually really hate cops. I've just been historically let down by them when I was in very, very life-threatening situations too many times. So I don't trust them. I don't put any trust in any uniformed person, authority figure, except for my psychiatrist, who's proven over 14 years that he's trustworthy with my spirit, my psyche. Although sometimes he gives me a little tweak every now and then. I stare at him and he just looks, because I know I'm too intelligent for my own good sometimes. But anyway, he loves me, that man, and he's so kind to me and protective too, and I trust him. I do trust him. One of the few human beings on this planet that has demonstrated that he's trustworthy with my mind, body and spirit. Wasn't totally trustworthy about the grand idea of getting me the CPAP machine, but we've negotiated that out, and I'll trial it and see how we go, and more than that you can't do. Anyway, segueing from that. So the Asian guy in the second 7-Eleven says to me, "Yes, I do have AAA batteries. There was 4 in a packet and there was $16. I was like, fuck, I don't want to pay $16. I only need 2 batteries. Mama T being practical. It's how I know I'm not drunk. I'm able to pass all this out 3 o'clock in the morning. But I said to her, "Mum, do you sell them in smaller packaging, like lesser quantities?" "No." "All right." So hand over the $16. And I walk back, fairly longish 7 to 10 minute walk back to my car. And as I'm going back to my car, I pass Stacey sitting on a park bench, just really drunk, like head down, looking, you know, in her own space. And I love those two people. They're very nice people. I've danced with them regularly. And Alex wasn't with her, so I was a bit worried about that. So I said to her, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" Are you for the moment? I'm having trouble with names. I said, "Are you all right, darling?" Couldn't think of a fucking name for them in that moment. And she looks up. She said, "Yeah, thank you very much. I'm fine." Gives me a frozen smile. She wasn't fucking fine. Don't know what went on there, but anyway, they're probably both of them just drunk. So I looked at her again. I said, "You know me." I said, "I dance with you at the Brooklyn Standard and we're friends." "Yes, thank you very much. I'm fine." And I went, "Are you sure you're fine?" "Yes, I'm fine." So Mama T decides, not my monkey, not my circus. She tells me she's fine, she's fine. So I carry on walking reluctantly because I was worried about her actually. Could have sat down with her, but I don't want to impose on people, and you know, if they don't welcome my attentions, off I go. So I carry on walking. I'm not upset with them at all. I was actually a bit concerned, to be honest. So I carry on my walking to my car, and then on the opposite side, on the right hand side, I'm on the left, I see Alex walking down that way, roaming around. So look, the two of them actually remind me, the way they behave, they remind me of my former friends Gail and Pedro, except this couple are much more, you know, they're younger and they're more passionate and express their love more outwardly than Gail and Pedro used to do. Gail and Pedro were madly in love too, but weird. And they used to just kind of act all aloof drama and cool. But Pedro loved me. We were good friends. But and Alex reminds me of a young blonde version of Pedro. And so he's doing his thing. So I just nod politely, thinking he's roaming. Maybe they had a fight. I don't know. Why would they fight? They're so in love, the two of them. I guess we all have little lovers' tiffs from time to time. You know, it is what it is. It's human nature. And so anyway, I'm not buying into that. I'm going to keep walking. Because if I approached him, she would have thought that I'm trying to hit on him, which I'm not. You know, we're just friends from the club. So anyway, I keep walking to my car. And as fate would have it, that fucking cop in the van was still there. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. But I thought, well, I got nothing to hide. I've gone to buy batteries for my breathalyzer and don't need to explain to him or anyone. I didn't even look into the van, just walked past, got back into my passenger seat again, pull out the breathalyzer, had to fight to get the thing off, the catch, the cover for the batteries, put the batteries in. Couldn't get it to work for the love of all the gods. So I've got fucking brand new batteries in it. Anyway, then I get out the instructions. You've got to hold the button down for 2 seconds. And I'm getting really, you know, steam's blowing out of my ears because I want to go home. I'm tired at the end of the night. It's more dangerous me being tired than being over the limit. Well, equally dangerous. I'm like, fuck this. If I have to sit here all night, I'm going to get even more tired. And it's getting dodgy as fuck, and I just want to go home. So I'm sitting there fumbling with this thing, and I blow into it, and it said 000, but then it said when it's brand new to try it a couple of times, because sometimes there's residue or some shit. So do it a couple of times, or it might give a false reading. So the cop gets out his van, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, what do you want? Like, really? So I'm doing the second reading and comes up, you know, 000. And I thought, oh, that's good. That's good. Mama T's sweated and writhed and danced and cavorted all that alcohol out of her, and I didn't have a lot. I had the equivalent of 5 drinks though. But I mean, that's not a lot from 10 till 2. Usually I only have 4 from 10 till 2 though. No, usually I have 4 from 11 till 2 because I got there an hour earlier, that's right. Anyway, all this worry about my drinking, which I never worry about, have never worried about it before, and have always been perfectly fine, by the way. But Lynn, with her over anxious state, made me go through this dance with the best intentions of the world. So I whack this fucking breathalyzing thing back in my glove box, and I've got one leg hanging out my open car door, with my cowboy boots and my tights, looking very sexy by that fucking cop had his eye on me the whole time. Because I know men, I don't give a fuck what uniform they've got on or what they do for a job or what they present as or who they pretend to be, married, single, even gay men hit on me sometimes, which is weird. They're all fucking at their core when it comes to female sexuality. They're all, fancying their chances, or in some cases predating, or in some cases just, being a man, being what's the word? Playing the game of human sexuality and life, am I right? And anyway, so the copper gets out, big boy, solid boy. He looked vaguely familiar. I think I've met him. I think I know him actually. I looked on it. I've met you before, I thought to myself. I think it was one that grabbed me on the breast one time at the O'Malley's, or it might have been the one that kept trying to fucking sexually assault me at Irish Murphy's one night when he was off duty. But that was the busker's ex-son-in-law. He was a creep, off-duty police officer. Fucking animal he was. So I get triggered when I see police personnel, by the way, because they can be just as creepy as any other civilian, non-police personnel man. So I've got my leg out the door. I know I'm sober, so I'm okay to drive, and he's coming out conducting his duties in his professional capacity with a long tape measure, measuring out, I don't know what he was measuring, but he stands in front of me opposite my car door. And, from years and years of dealing with fucking assholes and not being impressed by authority figures, I just turned and looked at him and said, "What can I do for you, officer?" He just looks at me and he says, I'm just using my tape measure. I'm measuring here. And I look at him. I said, "Oh, yeah, well, that's fine. You're going about your duties, are you?" I said, "Don't mind me. I trust no one." And he smirks because he would have figured that out. The whole early interplay, me walking to get the batteries down the road and further down the fucking road, by the way. And he wouldn't have seen the interplay, further down the road because it was out of his line of vision. But anyway, even he would have seen me trawl back. And I says, he says, well, I might trust no one too, he says to me and smirks. And so I looked back and I went, "Yeah, good way to be, officer. Trust no one." I was really getting ready for a fucking full-on fight. This man's as turned on as fuck, by the way. A lone cop in the night. That whole thing was very fucking weird. Especially as I called out Detective Naismith in a video yesterday. There's no coincidences in the universe. I expect some kind of harassment after that. The whole thing was weird, people. Maybe I'm paranoid, but the whole thing was weird. And anyway, had he checked out my number plate while I was walking to the 7-Eleven, I actually have a police registration number from when I worked as non-police, but I have a special registration number from when I had clearance to work for the Queensland Police Service Academy, which is another reason why I'm not intimidated, and I kind of fucking hate all police, by the way. The bullying that went on in that joint was intense. So, and you've heard me talk about how I feel about firemen, by the way, except for my friend Phil Harris, to you, Phil, I was very close with his parents and in our temple in New Zealand, and we were very good friends, his parents and I, and Phil's a very good man. But, and a paramedic, I think he is as well. Oh, was he? He used to fly. Yeah, he used to fly choppers to rescue people. That was his role in the New Zealand Fire Service. But anyway, here I go, looking at this cop thinking, I'm all alone here. He's all alone here. If he fucking jumps me, there's no proof. And he knew it too. He was really, you could see the lascivious kind of underlying undercurrent of aggression. So he keeps stretching out his, he said, and then he goes, I'll put the sign out, whatever the sign's supposed to mean. I don't know what that sign means. And I've got a measure now. I went, okay, well, you go about your business, officer. So I get out of my passenger seat and cool as a cucumber, because I've done nothing wrong. I'm not over the limit, and I've done nothing wrong anyway, except be a woman out in the night living my best life, am I right? So I go and I round to my driver's seat, get in my car, and put on my seatbelt, which I always do anyway, and drive off. He's still looking at me like, oh, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? But anyway, I got home safely, and all's well that ends well. But yeah, I'll be keeping an eye out in the next few weekends when I go dancing, because that was strange as fuck. Really a strange ending to my night. But thank you to